Let's talk about everything that you're going to need to know before buying your first airsoft gun. What's up, Airsofters? My name is Lane and welcome to the BB Warrior. In today's video, I want to talk to you about everything that you should consider when buying your first airsoft gun, giving you some of the advice that I've gathered over the last 10 plus years of playing airsoft, and really what to look out for. So there's three main parts of today's video. The first one is the most exciting, choosing the airsoft gun and everything that you should consider. Secondly, the accessories that you're going to need to make sure that it runs smoothly, like the batteries and the high quality BBs themselves. And the third thing is safety, because you want to be safe when you're on the airsoft field, and there's certain equipment that you need or else an airsoft field won't let you play for the day. So before we get into today's video, a few things. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff, and we're going to get a little technical at some parts in today's video. If you want more information, there's a ton of links, guides, everything that you're going to need down in the video description below. There's also going to be product links for anything that we talk about. And then secondly, one of the brands we're going to talk about a lot in today's video is Elite Force. Now, this is not a sponsored video. They have no idea that I'm making this video, but personally, after playing airsoft for more than a decade and using their products, I think that they offer some great products at different price ranges depending on what your budget is, and I will have their information and their website linked down below. They recently started shipping directly to you, so you don't need to go through a retailer, which means that they have some pretty good deals on there, as they have some combos for new players as well. So I think that it's just a resource that you should definitely check out for your first airsoft gun. So getting into what I would recommend when you're looking to buy an airsoft gun, it can be a little overwhelming. There is a ton of options out there. There's a lot of different brands. So what I recommend first and foremost is what's called an automatic electric gun. What this means is that it is an airsoft gun that will automatically cock itself. It runs off of electricity with a battery. And honestly, I think that they're just the most consistent option that you can buy. And there's options at pretty much any price point. So this is my AEG right here. This is a Elite Force SOTMOD M4 by VFC. And it just runs. Every time that you pull the trigger, a BB is going to come out until you're out of BBs. This isn't an M4 style. These are what I typically recommend for beginner players. And mine's a little bit more of an old school vibe with some accessories on there. The reason why I recommend an M4 for most players is that there is just a lot of different varieties out there. While that one's more of an old school vibe, anything that you're thinking of exists in an M4 platform. If you're looking to replicate something from your favorite video game like Battlefield, Warzone, Insurgency, whatever it may be, there's probably an M4 platform that looks identical to it or very similar. So there's a lot of different options. The other reason why I recommend it is that M4s are simply the most popular option out there, which means that there's a ton of options at different price points, and there's a lot of aftermarket part support. In case something breaks, you can easily get the gun repaired, which is one of my favorite things about it. The other reason why I like M4s is they have something known as Picatinny rail. And this allows you to put any sort of attachments that you want to simply screw on. So on my personal rifle here, I have a backup iron sight, I have my red dot scope, a foregrip, and a laser flashlight combo. And it just goes right on here. They also have something called M-Lock and Keymod, which is the same system, but it's more proprietary with the attachments that can go on there. And by buying a rifle that has this sort of attachment system on there, you can really customize it to your heart's desire, make it your own, and also make it much more comfortable. I love this foregrip because it allows me to aim down the rifle easier. Having the flashlight on here is really convenient when I'm indoors, and the red dot means that I can see my target effectively. Now again, because these do run off electricity, there's batteries that go right in the stock, which are easy to access. A lot of other models out there make it kind of hard to access the battery, so this is a great feature. Now, if you want to get something else, there are obviously other options out there. There are AKs, MP5s, G36s, whatever you're looking for. There's a ton of different varieties out there, and if you choose one of those over an M4, you're not wrong. I think that M4s are the best platform out there. Now, another thing that you're going to need to consider as we start to talk about some of the accessories of your airsoft gun is going to be the magazines. Now, they work very similar to a real firearm in the sense that there needs to be something feeding ammunition into the gun. So there's two main systems of airsoft magazines for AEGs, and that is what's known as a mid-capacity magazine. These work just like an AR-15 or regular style firearm magazine, where a spring pushes the ammunition up and into the gun. You also have what's known as a high-capacity magazine, which has more of a ratchet system feeding them up and in. The nice advantage with those is that you can carry more BBs in a magazine, normally about 300 versus somewhere around 100 to 150 with a mid-cap. But personally, I like mid-caps because I like the realism of having to reload from time to time. The other thing that you're going to need to consider when buying an airsoft gun, especially an AEG, is you're going to need a battery for it. And there's two main styles of batteries that are used in airsoft. We have nickel metal hydride batteries, or we have lithium polymer, otherwise known as LiPo batteries. Now the differences between these are going to be that LiPos are more powerful, but if they reach 0% on their charging, they die for good. So nickel metal hydride batteries, while they're starting to become less popular, they're a little bit more durable and they're a little bit easier for a new player to manage. But as long as you're good at checking your batteries, making sure they don't go down to zero and just charge them occasionally as needed, lithium batteries are also better. Those are what I personally use, but again, I've been playing for a decade, so I make sure that my batteries are always in tip-top shape. The other thing that you're going to want to make sure that you buy a high-quality version of is going to be the BBs that are feeding your gun. And the issue that a lot of players run into, it's kind of a trap, is they think, well, they're BBs. I'm not going to be reusing them, and if you've ever considered it, don't. It's going to destroy your gun. I'm not going to reuse them, so I should just buy the cheapest ones out there that I can find. But there's actually a lot of really good reasons why you'd want to invest in high-quality BBs, and the most important thing is going to be accuracy and durability of your airsoft gun. If you have BBs that are just, flying off left and right, you're never going to be able to hit anything. And if you have really poorly made BBs, they're going to crack in your barrel, they're going to jam, and potentially cause damage that's going to cost you a lot of money to fix. So what should you look for? Well, coincidentally, Elite Force makes BBs as well. I've been using these for a long time. I can't even tell you, but more than the entire 7 years that I've been running this channel. And they're just fantastic, and they come in a lot of different weights, which is what you're going to want to look for. Now this is front and center on pretty much every bottle of BBs that exists out there, and the different weights can be really important for your airsoft gun. Now although they are different weights, every airsoft BB that you're going to find for the most part is 6 millimeters wide. The way that they can make them all be the same diameter and the same size while having different weights is because there are air pockets in there, or they use different materials. And you may be thinking, well, if I buy a heavier BB, the more high quality one like you're mentioning, it's going to fly slower through the air. And while that's technically correct, it is very negligible. So the weights that I recommend are going to be either a 0.25 gram BB, or even better, a 0.28 or a 0.3 gram BB. The difference in weight is going to be negligible in terms of speed and velocity going out the barrel, but what that extra weight gives you is it makes it so that your BB is going to fight the wind. A heavier BB moving through the air is less likely to get picked up by a gust of wind and fly off to the side. It's going to make your shots more consistent, but there is a point where you get diminishing returns. For most players, I don't see a reason why you'd have to buy a 0.4 gram BB, for example, for your AEG. Not only is it incredibly more expensive, but you're really not gaining that much for all that extra money and the extra weight that you're putting on there. So again, a 0.25 to a 0.3 gram BB is going to be best. And for reference, when we're talking about feet per second, if you're a science nerd, kind of like myself, all airsoft guns, at least all AEGs, when you go up to chrono your airsoft gun, like we talked about earlier, to make sure that it's field legal, is chronoed with a 0.2 gram BB. So even though you're not going to use those in your airsoft gun when you're playing, that's how pretty much every field out there does it, or they do the math to figure out the joules and the actual energy behind your BB. So buying high quality BBs is incredibly important because again, it's not only going to make your airsoft gun more accurate, which in and of itself I think is worthy of the investment, but at the same time, it's going to make sure that your airsoft gun doesn't break, that the BBs don't cause any damage to your barrel, your hop-up chamber, anything like that. So the extra $1 or $2 when you get, 5,000 BBs at a time, I really think that it's worth it. Now, finally, and arguably the most important thing of all is safety equipment, because there's a lot of very delicate parts on your body, especially on your face. And you don't want to take a BB to the eye or crack a tooth, get it right in your nose, which I've seen all of those happen throughout the years. And it's avoidable, and it's pieces of safety equipment that you're required to have when you go on the airsoft field. So first and foremost is a pair of high quality goggles, and you can't go out and use ski goggles or sunglasses. You need something that's actually rated for impact. And the actual impact rating is Z87. I'll have the full thing on screen right here. And luckily, there's a lot of great options, again, at various price points. Personally, I really like to use the ones from ESS. I have these ESS crossbows that you see here, which are more of a shooting glass style, but then I also have the ESS turbofans, which cover more of my face, offer more protection, and a little bit bigger with a view, I should say. So there's a lot of different options out there. I tend to wear those bigger ones at indoor games. I wear the smaller ones at outdoor games. One of the important things about these goggles is not only that they're impact resistant, but they need to be what we refer to as full seal. Now that just means that there's some sort of gasket, whether it be made out of like a rubber, a foam, whatever it may be, that encompasses around your eyes and around your nose as well, so that a BB can't hit your cheek, sneak under, hit the inside of your glasses, and then hit your eye. So there's a lot of different options out there. I'll have tons of things linked in the description like we've talked about throughout this video. And then the other thing that you don't need at every place that you go to, but I highly recommend them and I wear them whenever I play airsoft, is something to protect the lower half of your face. Because again, you've got your teeth, you've got your nose, and just dental bills are expensive. I think that a $15 mask is a much better investment than spending a grand or two to get your teeth fixed. I use these ones from One Tigress because it's mesh down the center, which means that I have a ton of protection for my teeth and my nose, but on the side, there's like a thick padding. So while it still protects, it can be moved around, it's gonna contour to my face. And this is just a two-piece system where the glasses and the face protection are different. There are masks out there, more like paintball masks, which are still the impact rating that we want, but it's an all-in-one system to protect your face, which is very convenient. I just don't use them personally. But those are going to be some of the most important things that you need for safety when you're playing airsoft. There's a couple of other things to consider. You're going to want to make sure that you have a good pair of footwear. If you're playing outdoors, this is going to be boots so that you don't roll your ankle. I also wear boots indoors, but you just don't want to go out in tennis shoes, Converses, anything like that, because you're going to roll your ankle and you're not going to have the grip and stability you need on wet or uneven surfaces. And then finally, the last thing that I want to mention, which isn't mandatory to every field, but I think it's just a good thing to have, is going to be a barrel bag. This goes over the front of your barrel, has a little bit of bungee so you can secure it somewhere to your rifle. And that's going to make sure that a BB does not leave the barrel. If you leave your battery plugged in and there's one in the chamber and you pull the trigger, that bag's going to catch it. I've seen so many times where there's been a negligent discharge in the staging area or just somewhere where an airsoft gun shouldn't be fired, like in the parking lot. This is going to make sure that you don't hit somebody who doesn't have their eye protection on. It's going to make sure that you don't hit somebody's windshield. And for like $2 or $3, they're honestly just a great safety mechanism to have. And if something like this existed for real firearms, I could guarantee they'd be required at every single range. But that's going to do it for today's video, where we talk about everything that you need to know before buying your first airsoft gun. Again, I know that we covered a lot in today's video, so there will be notes down in the description below, links to the things that I'm talking about, and it's going to be in order of this video so you can easily find it. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and if you enjoyed it and want to learn more about the hobby of airsoft, consider subscribing to the channel and checking out my Discord server to chat with other airsofters and get even more advice about this hobby. But my name is Lane, and I'll see you all next time.